Hey everybody, it's me, Tim Keys, and I'm back with the tutorial. This time I want to talk about the NNXT from Reason. Yep, the NNXT. So for the long-term Reason users out there, you know that this has been a staple in Reason devices for the greater part of over 15 years. Came out back in Reason 3 and has for the most part largely been unchanged. Its features, it can do multi-samples. It can do multiple layers of multi-samples, meaning I can have a set of different samples on top of each other to make one big instrument. In the back, they have 16 outputs that can be sent to different outputs and channels to be mixed for your samples if you want to handle the instrument that way. It can also handle multiple formats of samples, including waveform, sound font 2 files, and I think even MP3 and AAF. Don't quote me on the MP3, test it for yourself. Or maybe I'll do one test afterwards, but I know it can do sound fonts, and I might show you that time permitting. So I'm going to show you some things that you can do with the NNXT if you don't already know. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to load up some samplers, and I'm going to show you the strengths and weaknesses, some of them, of this device when it comes to some of its features. So right now, let's see. Yeah, I'll do some pads. I'll load up some pads. And classical bliss. We got drifting. We'll do these because it's simple. Alright, so I got all these loaded up. And I just dragged in. I didn't drag and drop them. I had to click and shift and then drag and drop all the samples in. They don't have it set up so you can just highlight them all and drag them through, but that's a tip for another day. So after you got all the samples highlighted, scroll down, right click first, and then scroll down. You want to select set root notes from pitch shift. That's the first thing you want to do. The second thing you want to do is right click while all your samples are selected and hit auto map zones. And what that is going to do is supposed to separate them. It doesn't always do it correctly. So like C2 should be all the way up till C3. And then C3 should be moved. So this is the downside. I kind of wanted to show this, that sometimes this feature doesn't always get it right. It does detect the root note, which is good. Sometimes it doesn't. If you're using, oh my word. All right. So let's bring that all the way up to C4. That starts on C4. Move that over. Awesome. This goes up to and they set it in the wrong order. That's okay. Let's move that all the way out. C5 and then C6. So we'll keep that up there. So hopefully So that's one of the simpler ways of creating a basic instrument. Now let's say I wanted to add another layer underneath that. Let's see. Before I do that, I just want to test this out because I've never done it. Group selected zones. Awesome. Now, here, let's see. Polyphonic. That sounds terrible. All right. What I'm going to do with these, I'm just going to select a few. 1, 2, 3. And yeah. Oh gosh, don't do that. I did not want that. Awesome. I did want that. And I'm going to do the same thing. I am going to make sure these are set. Auto map zones. Double check them. And of course, so this is the part that can be frustrating. It's supposed to go all the way here. C2. And the root note is F2, of course. Luckily, I can adjust all these here in the device itself, or if I needed to, I can right click on the note and I can go to edit sample and I can set my root key that way. I can also change how I want things looped. I don't think I did anything for those. And there's a reason why. Let's see. C3. Come on. C2. C3. Nope, gotta go and do that. Now that's terrible. So select the note. There we go. Save. Drag that out before I hit C4. Awesome, that is on C4. We're going to drag that out. And then C5. Now, I'm doing this to show you both how it works and to show you some of the drawbacks in using this instrument. But now we got it layered. Uh-oh. And that's no good. Let's make sure. Nope, that's why. That's supposed to be C1. How did they do that? So this is a drawback. C2. It's okay. So now I got these basically set up how I want them. Now having this highlighted, let me make sure I group selected zones. Okay, awesome. So that's been grouped. It's its own deal. Now what I'm going to do, let me make sure I get this one and that one. Now I can go here to my amp envelope and I can adjust these parameters. So I want to spread those out. If I want to apply certain filters to this section without messing up these, I can do that. So that's the first part. You can make whatever you want to based on the samplers. Just make sure that you go over your notes and set the root key accordingly, because it doesn't always detect the notes adequately. Sometimes you may want to adjust your notes, like the duration. Not the duration. If it loops, you can set your loop points. If it goes in reverse, you can take certain parts of the sample inside this editor and reverse it. You can even crop, set your loop mode, all these features. I'm not going to go over them right now. I'll save that for another tutorial, but it's there. So that's one thing you can do in the product. The other thing you can do is you can manipulate samples kind of in the same vein of an ASR10. Now the ASR10 was a sampler that was prominent back in the 90s and has still maintained its popularity, being used by producers like Kanye West and Timberland, just to name a few. I have never personally used an ASR10. So I'm just going to get that out real quick. Never used one personally. I have heard about it. I think I've seen a couple of tutorials where they try to show how you can emulate an ASR10 using an NNXT. I think you can do that with the NN19 too. It's just a little bit more convoluted in the process. And that's because, for whatever oddball reason, the NN19 also allows you to do multi-samples, but it doesn't necessarily allow you to drag and drop a sampler into the NN19 as easily. You got to go through a couple more steps. But you can load multiple samples of different sounds in the NN19 in a similar fashion. But let's see if we can do it here. Let me go find my loops. All right, let's see. Shout out to MG, The Future, Spicy Sundays, and the free loop packs. I'm going to use Jimmy. I might not use Jimmy. So I'm going to put Jimmy right here. Now Jimmy is at 130 beats per minute. I'm at 120 beats per minute. Did that on purpose. One of the things you can do to easily circumvent that problem, hit Control on your pad, on your keyboard, highlight your riff, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag it into those bars, in between those bars. And now, if you listen, and it fits perfectly. Now I can so that's pretty simple. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this. I'm going to go to Comp Edit. I'm going to click here. I'm gonna play it live. And all I'm doing is finding a pitch that I like. Now that I've done that, I'm going to close out of that. Going to hit F7 just so I can see my screen a little bit more. I'll make that smaller actually. All right, so now what I'm gonna do, got my sound, hit click, select it. There's a couple ways you can do this. I'm gonna hit my slice edit. Wonderful. And what slice edit does, it basically it detects the transients and it points them out. If I want to, which I do, I'm gonna take my cutter. Oh no. And I'm going to begin to cut these at various points. I'm gonna put that on 16ths just so I got it. I want that one. And all I'm doing is I'm cutting these at various points. I'm gonna play it, everything sounds the same. Let's see, now I'm gonna get out of that. Boom, they're all cut at various intervals. If I wanted to, I could now take each of these individual pieces and I can adjust their pitch to taste accordingly, and create a whole entire different instrument just from these chops. Or I can take them and let's see, I'm gonna bounce. Yeah, would they let me do it like that? Nope. Let's see if I hit F6. There we go. Will it allow me to? Nope, it won't. All right, so what you gotta do, I can take this, bounce it in place. Actually, no, I'm lying. I'll bounce it to new samples. There we go. Awesome. I'm gonna do the same thing. Bounce to new recordings. Oh no. There we go. Bounce to new samples. I'm sorry about that. Bounce it to new samples. And then I'm not going to do all of them because that's just time consuming. Not nerve wracking, but time consuming. Bounce to new samples. You also save it on a new disk. If you work this way, and let's say you create something, then I would also recommend that when you get done saving your song or working on it, you go into song, self-contained settings, hit OK, and then make sure you save it. And what that will do is it will just pull up your file and everything will be there. You don't have to worry about finding and relocating all your samples and doing that whole process over. But now, put these there, and again, that is not where it's supposed to be. Let's see what they do for pitch detection. It's not quite what I wanted to do, but this will work. So then you got to make sure you go back and you cut it. I probably should have used a jazz piece or something that had a little bit more to it. But let me see. And let's say I wanted to spread the sample just a little bit. I got it on C4. I'm actually going to put it down to C3. Or it was at D sharp. So if this was a riff or sections of a riff, I would have essentially taken this whole riff and spread it through parts of the keys, and it would, if it was spot on at the note, it would play exactly like it was in your record. And if I spread it a little bit, you know, it would speed up if you're going up the scale, and slow down if you're going down the scale, and I mean, you stretch it out. So there's that. Let's bring that back. And then let's see. Make sure you hit add a zone and then drag your next sample. The reason you want to do that is because if you don't, then yeah, you'll have to do that. It'll replace the sample. You won't have to do it over, but it will replace the sample. Now this in this case is just one shots, so it's not going to, again, I should have used the riff, but hopefully you caught the point. Like if you had a jazz piece and you had, you know, multiple elements going on and you found bits and pieces that you really liked, you could take the exact same thing I did here and just apply it to that music piece, chop it up the same way, and just make sure you set it up. You know, make sure you save everything in the right place. What I am going to do, since I'm on it, I'm going to take these, move them out the way, show something else. Let's say I want to make this note longer. One thing about this sample that is very convenient is the fact that it's basically like just notes. You know, single notes. There's not a lot of other elements or harmonics going on underneath. So you can just take that, and let's say I really like that, but it's short and I want to make it longer. I'm going to spread that. So now I'm going to take that. I am going to bounce to new sample. I'm going to throw that in there. I am going to, I can't find it, edit sample. I'm going to normalize it. Some people say don't normalize it. I'm going to normalize it. I'm going to hit my start point. Actually, let's play it first. All right. So now I'm going to set my loop mode. And let's play it. Set your loop point. Crossfade loop. I'm gonna drop the volume. It's very loud. So now I have taken that note, created an instrument. Personally, when I use the NNXT and I'm making multi-sampled instruments, I'm not going to use a whole bunch of different samples because A, I just find it time consuming. B, if you're multi-sampling synthesizers, you have a lot more leeway in terms of what you need for data in order to sample. If I was using an acoustic instrument like a guitar or a piano, I would definitely sample as much of that piano as possible and bring as much of the elements of that piano that I sampled into this device as I could, because you want realism. Unless your goal is to purposely make a abstract sounding acoustic instrument, and that's okay too. So now that I got this right here, all right, so that's how you take that and you could take a sample and turn it to a multi-sample instrument. Again, the advantage of using an NNXT is I can add as many of these elements as my computer can handle. See what we got here. Ooh. Let's throw this super saw in. I'm gonna throw it in right there, and it sounds horrible. I'm gonna stretch it out again. Sounds like it's in the key of F. I'm gonna delete that because I don't need it. Ooh, gosh. That sounds terrible. Let's drop it down. They thought that was cute. Let's stretch it out some more. I'm going to use it just for demonstration purposes. And again, I'm going to bounce it to new samples. What the heck was that? That is not, oh, okay. Let's see why they do that. My word. Let's see. Yep. All right. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, you could slap on full orchestral samples and add on to this and make your own instrument. You can add effects. You can chain these. I could chain the NNXT and run it through the Thor. Use the Thor as an effects module and filter, and you can really get creative. But the NNXT, for the most part, the strength of it lies in its ability to do multi-samples and its ability to do multi-layered samples. So I could have strings on top of brass, on top of flutes, on top of synths, all in one device if I wanted to. And I could split them up in different parts of the keyboard section. So one half is one instrument and one half is another instrument. And, you know, really modulate these and shape the sounds how I like. Oh yeah, I said I was going to do the whole sound fonts. Yeah, let's go back. If I can find my sound fonts. It's one thing about having a bunch of stuff. You after a while, you have so much stuff, you tend to forget where you put everything. Yes. Do I have it? Spirits. Yep, I do. All right, cool. So let's say these are like my sound font 2 files. What I'm gonna do real quick is I'm going to add a zone, and let's see, what do I want here? I'm gonna take I go in my samples, presets, throw them in. Ooh, it just changed it. But now I got my samples in. Just like that, left side, right side, and it did it for me. One thing about using good quality pre-made sound font files is you don't have to do a lot of the setup. It's already done for you. So that's how you use the sound font files. I don't think you can combine sound font files and wave files in the same device. I can combine these. So for example, basically what you would do is open up a combinator, get your utility. I apologize if this is taking longer. I was supposed to be in and out, but let's show this real quick. Get your line in, get your instrument, boom. Go back, give me another instrument, boom. And reset. April Fools. I'm gonna open that up. Where's Jimmy? Do it again. We got Jimmy here. That's on that D sharp. And I'm going to leave it on that D sharp. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open this up and let's go back. Because I'm lazy. Dreamwells. Boom. And I'm going to take both of these. So if you want to combine your sound fonts with your samples, throw them in the combinator. And yeah, just make sure you save everything. That's it. If I didn't hit all of the stuff with the ASR10 and chopping up samples, I apologize. The flip side is, again, if this was, you know, like a jazz section, band section with multiple elements, your drums and your pianos, or different parts of your pianos and harmonies all in one, you could take this, chop it up. You could throw it into your NNXT. You could also take it and convert it to a Rex file, and then throw it into your Octarex player, and it will do the exact same thing. You just be using a different device. And to be frank, it'll probably be easier, and it will allow for a faster workflow. But that's all I got for today. I hope this helps. Yeah, if the video was good, thumbs up. If it was bad, thumbs down. And either way, have a great day.